Small talk.
Genesis has been known to both be the weirdest and most normal band at the same time. I'm pretty sure that all their biographies and books are boring as fuck, or at least that's what a normal person would say. Someone that cares more about personal drama than music. Because, let's face it, the people that talk about drama in the band are just looking for it, faking it. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing in the level of other bands. People think that the band was extremely mad with Peter and vice versa, but it was nothing of the sort. And this same applies to everyone. They can still talk, they might shrug a little bit, they might not call themselves that often, but there's not a death sentence or anything like that. It's just a matter of time and organization. But anyways, I'm not here to drop you with a truth bomb. I'm here to tell you about the members that left the band and what they thought of the new albums being released without their input. When Peter left, he knew that the music world was shifting. He really did move places, it seems. Like a prostitute. I mean to say like a social musician. Was he an introvert? Sorry, I drifted for a bit. But it's true. Punk was rising and Peter was but first ready for it. He was ready to write that musical punk cocktail, and he thought that Genesis was done for, so he went and oversaw the creation of Trick of the Tail. And oh, the horror. Oh no, this is more of the same fairy tale shit. Oh god, well, the band is going to do really well, it's the same shit, bye. But the horror was just starting for him. He was so glad that Tony was not playing with him anymore.
I just hated Tony.
You would have never gotten any Chuck the Monkeys or Intruders under Tony Banks' management. It's too little romantic. Peter was already done, but he wasn't the only one. Steve was also assessing the situation, and when he heard "And Then There Were Three," it was such a relief. Finally, not in that warm synth band. Peter heard one note and said nay, and that's all. Duke came, the band started to grow in the meme market, at least on this timeline, and the perspectives of the ex-members started to change a bit. Yet, Abacab was the real tide changer. They finally got Peter back! Isn't that great? Yet fans say this album threw the prog past to the trash. The very same fans that loved Peter's albums when he was trying to get away from all that old shit. Yet Abacab has gated reverb, gets away from the old shit a bit, is less romantic, and yet, even though it does the Peter, it's hated by all of them. This is why I don't have friends. Meanwhile, Steve was telling everyone to fuck off online, and for some reason the forum post was only banned in Brazil. That album between Abacab and Invisible Touch doesn't matter, so let's talk about the later. Unwatchable Molestation is an album that mocked Peter's Monkey and competed against the album Sauce, ultimately making Genesis Tonight's biggest loser. The band is so far up their own musical asses that they didn't even realize that Peter had won. So 20 years later, Phil called Peter on the phone and very lovingly said, "You motherfucker." True story, by the way. We Can Dance was an album dedicated to everyone that has played with Genesis, because, quite literally, they don't know how to dance. Look at Peter. What is this? Well, the ex-members approved of the truthful message, it seems. Now, the last one. I just can't imagine the shock on their faces when they heard Alien Afternoon. Steve probably was like, "Tony didn't want to play on my Genesis Revisited album for this?" Well, yes, but also, Steve accepted the situation and played a few songs with Ray Wilson. That's really cool. Even with Nick Kershaw? What's happening? I'm just making assumptions. But I imagine that of all post-10 tracks, and I include here Steve, Peter and Anthony Phillips, of all, their favorite has to be
Small talk.
Now it's time for a fast hear to the YTPs. We have here Skylanders with the Lamb, where you can hear In the Cage, and I will never complete a Through the Years on the Lamb because I can make a YTP of this segment. Time for a piece. La 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 la. Goodbye, mates.